In this video, we are going to study about phloem transport and translocation of sugars. Okay, so here as we know, in the leaves, the food is synthesized. Okay, the food synthesized by the leaves are transported by phloem either to the area of requirement or stored. So as we know, in the leaves only, food is synthesized by the process of photosynthesis. So this prepared food has to be transported. It cannot be stored. It can be stored in the leaves, but all the food cannot be stored in the leaves. The some of the food is required by the plant itself for the energy requirement. So this food has to be transported, okay, from the leaves to other parts of the plant. So this transport is carried out with the help of the phloem. Okay, so here with the help of the phloem, the food which is prepared in the leaves, they are transported to the area where it is required or where it has to be stored. So the phloem tissue is composed of sieve tubes. As we know, phloem is a complex tissue. This phloem is made up of 4 type of cells. One among them is the sieve tubes, and these sieve tubes, they are meant for the conduction of food in the plant. Okay, they are meant for the transportation of food. So these sieve tubes, they have the sieve plates. Sieve plates means they have small pores in it. You can compare it with the filters what we use at home. So they have small pores or the sieve plates. Through this, the cytoplasmic strands, that is with the help of the cytoplasm, this food prepared by the leaves, they are being transported through this sieve plates. So cytoplasmic strands passes through the spores in the sieve plates. Okay. So the phloem transport food or the sucrose from a source to a sink. Okay. Now what is a source? Where the food is prepared. The source is the part of the plant that synthesizes the food. So the part of the plant which synthesizes the food is called the source. So in the plant, the source is a leaf, and sink is the part that kneads or stores the food. So sink is where the part of the plant which requires the food or where the food is being going to stored. But the source and the sink may be reversed depending on the season or the plant's need. So sometimes what will happen when the rate of photosynthesis decreases, so the food preparation also will reduce there. Okay, so to compensate that, sometimes what will happen, the stored food is used by the plant. So here the reversal will take place. So the transportation of food will take place from sink to the source. So since the source sink relationship is variable, that is, the movement of the food can take place from source to sink or from sink to source. So here the direction of movement in the phloem can be upward or downwards. So this movement, as we have studied, the phloem can transport the food from the region where it is surplus to the region where it is required or where it has to be stored. So here it can be upward movement or it can be a downward movement. So the the movement in the phloem is said to be bidirectional. Whereas in contrast to this, the movement in the xylem, in the xylem we know always the movement of water take place in the upward direction from root towards the top of the plant. So here the movement in the xylem is said to be unidirectional. Next we are going to study about the translocation of sugar. So the mechanism of translocation, as I already explained to you, what is translocation? The movement of material from one place to another. So mechanism of translocation of sugar from source to sink is through pressure flow hypothesis. Okay, so as we know, in the process of photosynthesis, starch is prepared. Okay, glucose is a type of starch. So the glucose prepared at source. What is the source? It is the green part of the plant, the leaves. So by the process of photosynthesis, glucose is prepared, is converted to sucrose. Another form, it's a starch. So this sucrose moves into the companion cell. Okay, as we know, the sieve tube is the conducting element. Along with the sieve tube, the companion cells are present. So this sucrose which is prepared in the leaves, they are transported to they enters inside the companion cell, then into the living phloem sieve tube cells by active transport. This process produces a hypertonic condition. Hypertonic condition means the solute concentration is more than the solvent. So here what is happening, due to the process of photosynthesis, Now in the sieve tube, more amount of food is present and less water is present. So this condition is called the hypertonic condition. This condition is existing where? In the phloem. To balance this, what will happen? This phloem will pull the water or will draw the water from the neighboring cells. So what is the neighboring cell which is having the water? It is the xylem. So water in the adjacent xylem moves into the phloem by osmosis. As osmotic pressure builds up, the phloem sap moves the areas of lower pressure. So here now what is happening in the phloem? There is by the osmosis water has entered inside the phloem. So here the concentration of water increases or the osmotic pressure increases. As a result, the solute is pushed through the phloem with the help through the phloem. The solute is transported with the help of the water. So by active transport, sucrose moves into the cells where it is utilized or stored. So here, as we know, in the leaves the sucrose concentration is more, and the sucrose, they enter inside the sieve tubes, which is the conducting element. So here in the sieve tubes, the concentration of sucrose is more and the concentration of water is less. So this tissue of the phloem will get the water from the neighboring cells which is having water. So the neighboring cell which stores the water is the xylem. So as the water enters inside the phloem through by the osmosis, the water will push the sucrose, or it will help to travel the sucrose. Okay, so from the source the food will be transported to the region where it is required or where it has to be stored. As sugars are removed, the osmotic pressure decreases and water moves out of the phloem. Okay, when the sucrose is transported from the phloem, the pressure decreases and the water comes out of the phloem.